Chapter 14. Winds, Storms and Cyclones. You will learn about air pressure, wind, storms. Introduction. We are showered every day with the gifts of the earth, gifts we have neither earned nor aid for. Clean air to breathe, nurturing rain, soil, food to eat, the trees that became this page, etc. On the other hand, natural disasters like earthquakes, cyclones, floods, etc. cause destruction of property and loss of life. A natural disaster is a major adverse event resulting from natural process of the earth. In this chapter, we will study about some natural disasters like thunderstorms, cyclones and tornadoes, which contain strong rotating winds that can cause damage. Before this, let us first understand those properties of air and wind which are responsible for these disasters. Air pressure. The layer of air above the earth is called atmosphere. Most of the air lies within about 10 kilometers from the earth's surface. This air has weight and exerts pressure on all surfaces that it come in contact with. This is called atmospheric pressure or air pressure. It is a force exerted on a surface by the air above it as gravity pulls it to earth. Changes in atmospheric pressure results in changing weather condition on earth. Winds, storms, cyclones and tornadoes occur due to change in the earth's atmosphere. These phenomena are mainly caused due to two important properties of air. Air exerts pressure in all directions. Air is made up of tiny molecules which move around quickly in all directions, exerting pressure in all directions. If we put air in a closed container, the fast-moving air molecules continually collide with each other and with the walls of the container. When a molecule collides with the wall, they exert small force on the wall. The more particles that hit the walls, the higher the pressure. If the air is heated, its particles move around more quickly. They hit the walls of the container harder and more often. This increases the pressure. Sometimes the pressure gets so great that the container bursts. That is why balloons and tires burst if you blow them too much. It's also why deodorant spray cans carry warning signs to tell you not to leave them in the sunshine. If they get too hot, they will explode. Air expands on heating and tends to rise up. On cooling, it contracts, becomes heavy and tends to sink. When air is heated, its volume increases and occupies a bigger space. When air is cooled, its volume decreases and occupies a smaller space. When air gets heated, it expands, becomes lighter and rises up in the sky. Let us perform an activity to show that hot air rises up. Factors affecting air pressure. Altitude. Atmospheric pressure drops as altitude increases. As the pressure decreases, the amount of oxygen available to breathe also decreases. At very high altitudes, atmospheric pressure and available oxygen get so slow that people can become sick and even die. Do you know the atmosphere pressure on Denali, Alaska, highest peak in North America, is about half of Honolulu, Hawaii, a city at sea level. Speed. Let us perform an activity to understand the effect of speed on pressure. Science fact. Roofs of houses can get blown away by strong winds. This is because when a strong wind blows, the pressure on the top of the roof is lower than the pressure below. This imbalance of the two forces causes the roof to blow away. Air pressure in everyday life. Atmospheric pressure is applied in multiple ways in our daily life. It helps us to breathe, drinking water, using straws, inflate vehicle tires, blow balloons and other inflated objects, clean houses using vacuum objects, clean houses using vacuum cleaners, syringes used by doctors. Wind. Wind is a movement of air which depends on the differences in atmospheric pressure in two regions. The greater the difference in air pressure, the faster the air moves. Generation of wind currents. Wind currents are generated due to uneven heating of the earth. The uneven heating on the earth can take place under two situations. Uneven heating between the equator and poles of earth. The region close to the equator of the earth get the maximum heat from the sun. So the air in equatorial region gets heated and become warm. The warm air rises, creating an area of low air pressure. The cooler air from regions of up to 30-degree latitude belt on both the sides of the equator rushes towards the equator to take the place of warm rising air. This makes the wind to blow from the north and south directions towards the equator. Similarly, the air at latitudes of about 60 degree on both sides of the equator is warmer than at poles. So, the warm air at 60-degree latitude rises up, creating regions of low air pressure, and cold air from polar regions rushes in to take its place. This makes the wind blow from the poles of the earth towards the warmer regions of 60-degree latitudes. By this way, a pattern of wind circulation is set up on the earth. The flow of wind is not exactly in the exact north-south direction. A change in the direction of winds is caused by the rotation of the earth on its axis. Uneven heating of land and water in oceans. As we have already learnt about sea breeze and land breeze, which causes the wind to blow from the oceans towards the land. These seasonal moisture-bearing sea breeze and land breeze are called monsoon winds. These bring rain to almost all parts of India and other countries of South Asia between June and September. In India, the land gets heated much more in summer than the water in the Indian Ocean. The winds that blow from the Indian Ocean to the land from the southwest towards the northeast of India bring heavy rain and cause the southwest monsoon. During winters, the direction of winds get reversed and blows from the land towards the ocean. The winds coming from cold land regions carry only a little amount of water vapor and cause the northeast monsoon, hence bring only a small amount of rain in winter season. Characteristics of wind. Two important characteristics of wind are direction and speed. The direction of wind is the direction from which it comes. It is important to know the wind direction because a change in wind can affect the weather. Wind vane is used to determine the direction of the wind. Wind speed is measured with the help of an instrument called anemometer. The speed with which an anemometer rotates is proportional to the speed of the wind. Storms. A period of violent weather accompanied by strong high-speed winds and usually rain is called a storm. Storms can be very dangerous and can cause several damages to life and property. There are many types of storms. Some arise over land, others develop seas. Let us study about some of these storms in thunderstorms. Storms accompanied by thunder and lightning are called thunderstorms. Thunderstorms develop in hot and humid tropical areas like India very frequently. This is because the heat of tropical area warms the air in contact with it. The warm air rises up creating a low pressure area. Cool air rushes in to take its place in the form of strong winds. The water vapor present in the rising air cool and condense to form a cloud at high altitudes. Some of the water vapor of cloud forms tiny ice particles. The water droplets and ice particles rub against each other in rapidly rising air. This builds up electric charge which we see as a flash of lightning in the sky. The spark of lightning heats the nearby air too. This extremely hot air expands explosively causing a loud sound called thunder. Thus a thunderstorm brings strong winds, thunder, lightning and heavy rains. Precautions to be taken during a thunderstorm. Thunderstorms are quite dangerous, especially because they are accompanied by lightning. We should take following precautions during a thunderstorm to protect ourselves from lightning. We should not sit near a window during lightning. If outside, do not take shelter under metal sheds or an isolated tall tree. We should not use an umbrella with a metallic end during lightning. If you are in water pod, get out of water and go inside a building. A car or bus is a safe place to take shelter during lightning. Cyclones. Cyclones develop over the hot oceans near the equator. They are powerful storms that are accompanied by strong spiraling winds and heavy rainfall. A cyclone revolves due to the force exerted by the rotation of the earth. Cyclones can be from 100 km to 4000 km in diameter. The center of a cyclone is a calm area having low air pressure. This low pressure center is called the eye of the cyclone, 16 to 31 km. It is a region free of clouds and has only light winds. This surrounded by a region of very high speed winds 100 km per hour to 250 km per hour, moving in circles, and thick rain bearing thunder clouds. Formation of cyclone. The sun heats the sea water too much. Warm and moist air rushes up very rapidly from hot sea surface. This creates area of very low pressure, causing cool air to rush in to take its place. As the warm and moist air rises up in the atmosphere, it gets cooled and releasing a lot of heat in atmosphere. The heat released by condensation warms the air all around. This warm air rises higher into the atmosphere, causing a low pressure. Thus more air rushes up to take the place of warm rising air. This process is repeated again and again, making more and more air to rise up higher and higher in the atmosphere, and also forming more and more thick clouds all around. The end of a cyclone comes quickly if a cyclone moves over land, because it no longer receives a moisture and heat energy from warm sea water. The states most prone to cyclones in India are West Bengal, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Do you know, a cyclone is known by different names in different countries of the world. Hurricane in North and Central America, typhoon in Japan and Philippines. Destruction caused by cyclone. Strong high-speed winds accompanying a cyclone can bring down trees, electric poles, telephone poles, vehicles, damage houses and hurl people through air, causing a huge loss of life and property. The seawater rushes inland and causes widespread flooding of low-lying coastal areas. This leads to damaged crops, drowned animals, reduction in fertility of soil and outbreak of waterborne diseases like cholera, typhoid, etc. Precautions for cyclone-prone regions. Do not ignore the cyclone warnings issued by Meteorological Department through TV or newspaper. Keep ready the telephone numbers of all emergency services like police, hospital and fire station. Make necessary arrangements to shift the essential household goods and domestic animals etc. to safer places. Precautions to be taken after cyclone hits an area. Do not drink water that could be contaminated by flood. Do not touch wet electric switches or wires. Avoid driving as roads may get damaged by flood water. Cooperate with the rescue teams and help your neighbors and friends. Tornado. It is a violent storm with funnel-like rotating columns of air that reaches from the sky to the ground. Tornadoes are much smaller than cyclones, mainly from a few meters to a few hundred meters across, but their wind speed can be high up to 500 km per hour, which is more than twice the speed of winds in the most severe cyclones. They can lift or blow away objects like cars, trucks and even houses. They are most common in USA and are rare in India. Key terms. Atmospheric pressure. Pressure exerted by Earth's atmosphere at any given point. Wind vane. An instrument used to find the direction of wind. Anemometer. An instrument used to measure the speed of wind. Quick recap. Air exerts pressure in all directions. Air expands on heating and contracts on cooling. Atmospheric pressure decreases with increase in temperature. As the speed of moving air increases, the air pressure decreases. Uneven heating of the equator and the poles, as well as uneven heating of the land and water on the earth wind currents. Monsoon winds are caused by uneven heating of land and sea. The two main characteristics of wind are its speed and direction. Storms are violent and winds that may be accompanied by rain, thunder or lightning. Thunderstorms occur in hot and humid tropical areas and are accompanied by lightning and thunder. A cyclone is a storm that develops over the sea and is characterized by spiraling winds and heavy rainfall. They can cause severe damage to life and property due to high-speed winds and heavy rains. Tornadoes, also called twisters, are violent storms with funnel-like rotating columns of